Okay. Thank you all for being with us tonight. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. I see we do have flags out tonight, so would y'all be willing to stand, and let's just start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Well, I want to say thank you for coming and spending your evening to listen to this important topic for our city. But it's not just for our city. It's actually for our entire community. So we have with us tonight representatives from Potter County. Commissioner John Coffey is here on behalf of Potter County, and also representatives from Randall County. Judge Christy Dyer is here with us tonight because this is such an unusual opportunity that we have in our community. The city will stand to get a check somewhere around $40 million. That amount is still in flux. The counties will be getting individual, some for Potter, some for Randall. But what we know is that this is sort of like sending your kids to college. If you spend it right, it will return an investment in our entire community for many, many years to come. And because it is a unique opportunity, we wanted to, number one, get started on listening to what citizens think are the top priorities on how to spend this money, but we want to listen as an entire community, not just listening as the city, not just listening as the county, so that our conversations are overlapping with the same feedback from you guys. We represent all of you. Some of you live in Randall, some of you live in Potter, most of you all live in the city, but your taxes go to support all of our different organizations. And so we want to see you as the taxpayer, and we want to listen as your elected officials on behalf of our entire community, not just in our own segmented way. So that's the thought behind tonight. We are keeping an eye on the weather, and the update I had just before we started was that it stands to hit the city right around 8 o'clock. So we might try to wrap up a little bit early so that you can get home, get your car parked under something safe. This storm is predicted to have hail in it. But because we had invited multiple different jurisdictions, we just didn't want to reschedule. It's hard to get everybody's schedules together. So I just want to offer the judge an opportunity to say any opening remarks or any thoughts about this meeting. Judge, anything you want to share?
Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you've all turned out. The most important thing in being an effective leader is to have good listening ears. It's what I tell my granddaughter, to put her listening ears on. That's what I'm here tonight to do, is to listen to you, listen to your ideas. When this money was appointed, or if they began to talk about it, and what Randall County would receive, we weren't sure on how exactly that it could be distributed and what the rules were that came along with it. After going through the 151 pages, I'm going to need some wonderful ideas, because some of them will qualify and some won't. And just because your idea doesn't qualify doesn't mean that it didn't have wonderful merit, but it just may not fit in the structure. But God says have many counselors, and that's why I'm here, is to listen to you and to see if there's an idea out there that maybe we haven't thought of. Thank y'all for allowing me to be here.
Yeah, I am really glad that you mentioned that. That's something we're going to emphasize, is that it's federal dollars, so they have some guidance or direction on how it gets spent, and we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. We're still waiting for that full guidance. They haven't completely decided what would qualify and what wouldn't qualify, so that's in a state of flux. But that's going to be an important component of, out of the ideas we hear tonight, are they ideas that would fit within what's been authorized for this money to be used for. So, Commissioner Coffey, you want to say a few words?
Well, sure. I just echo the same sentiment as Judge Dyer. I appreciate everybody being here. We're real interested in hearing what you have to say, and I just ready to listen to the comments that are being made, and we're gonna make good use of the money. We're gonna do the right thing, and so we always want the input from the citizens. And I just, again, thank you for being here.
Thank you. I agree with that. So at this point, I just want to say that we're going to start our time together with I want us to all be working on the same foundation. So I've asked Laura Storrs if she would come and give just a quick presentation on what the dollars are, what they can be used for, based on what we know right now. And then she's going to touch just briefly on the broadband project that the city is contemplating, and whether or not that project would qualify for use for these funds. And then we're going to go right into your questions. And your questions will be, if you've signed up to speak, or if you haven't signed up to speak, Stephanie, raise your hand so everybody can see. Stephanie's going to be our moderator for tonight. So if you're sitting in your chair and you thought, oh, I didn't sign up, but I have something I want to say now, you can just take your card, if you picked one up at the back of the room, take it over to Stephanie, and she'll have you in the queue, and we'll try to get to everybody's comments before the weather forces us to be done tonight. As far as the elected officials, our stance tonight is just to listen to you guys and to listen to ideas. There'll be more meetings and more time for us to have conversation about how to spend the money. This is our first time to be together just to listen to what citizens think the priorities should be. So we'll be mostly in a listening stance tonight. Any questions or comments from the council before we start? Anything that I've forgotten? No? Okay, I think Councilmember Sauer will be joining us, so we'll look forward to him being here, but we're not going to wait on him because the weather is a-coming. Okay, Laura, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor. I have a brief presentation, so please stop me if you have questions, or I can take questions afterwards. So we're going to start talking about the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, also known as the ARP. So this is the federal stimulus bill, H.R. 1319, and this is just talking mainly on the impact of cities and counties. So the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 was signed into law back in March. It provides for $130.2 billion in relief to cities and counties nationwide. So today we got an updated number. The city of Amarillo is looking to receive just a little under $39.7 million. We originally thought we were going to get around $42.27 million. However, on May 10th, there was an interim final rule that was published, and the act requires the Treasury to use the most recent available population data from the U.S. Census Bureau. And at the time of that publication, it was the 2019 information. So we shall see. I do know that we have census data coming, I believe, towards the end of this month. So as of now, the city of Amarillo is looking at just under $39.7 million. What we've been told is this will be distributed in 2 installments, half by May 10th of 2021, which you can all know that has come and gone. But there was instructions that were posted on May 10th for us to submit our information to receive those funds. They're checking our eligibility. We had to submit all of our banking information, that type. So we are just waiting to receive those funds, and hopefully within the next week or 2. Then the other half is due no earlier than 12 months after the first distribution. So we'll be looking in 2022 to receive the second half of those funds. Large jurisdictions, which is the city of Amarillo, and I believe also each of the counties, are going to receive direct distribution from the U.S. Treasury. So that means there's no application, there's no application or qualification process that goes through the state. The smaller jurisdictions will be receiving allocations through the state of Texas. The dollars must be spent by December 31st of 2024. Next slide, please. So let's talk about the eligible areas for use. And if you have one of those cards, if you want to flip it over to the back, that is where it shows the eligible areas for use. So as mentioned, I believe both by the mayor and the county judge, that we are still getting updated information. The interim final rule is about 150 something pages long, but it does hint to the fact that there's more coming. So this is the information we have as of today, and we're going to continue to evaluate it as it evolves. So the main criteria is to support the public health expenditures related to the COVID-19 pandemic. Also, to address negative economic impacts caused by the public health emergency. Also, to replace lost public sector revenue due to COVID-19. To provide premium pay for identified essential workers, or to invest in water, sewer, drainage, or broadband infrastructure. And there's more information in the 150-page document related to each of those, but as I mentioned, the large-scale document does hint that there may be some further guidance coming. Next slide. Just wanted to mention a couple of things that we are to consider as we utilize these funds. We are to be aware of the state-level ARP Act efforts, especially regarding infrastructure. So we have not heard anything official on any state projects at this point, but we're to be watching for some of that. The Act does not want any duplication of efforts. We also need to consider regional initiatives with other ARP Act recipients, which is a prime example tonight of having the county representatives here. So counties, schools, and other agencies may be receiving some funding through this act as well. And we're encouraged to use other dedicated grants and programs first whenever available and save the ARP Act funds for priorities not eligible for other programs. So for instance, we do have some grant money that is addressing certain COVID-19 expenditures, and we would utilize those first before using the ARP Act dollars. And of note, the ARP Act funds are temporary and should only be used for one-time type of expenditures. So it should not be used to fund ongoing expenditures, because these are one-time dollars and they will run out at a point in time. And then the last thing to consider is rating agencies will evaluate a government's use of the ARP Act funds. And I know at the City of Amarillo, we watch our ratings very closely. It helps us issue debt at very affordable amounts and save our taxpayers lots of money on interest. And so this is a very important priority for us as well. Any questions on just kind of this broad picture of ARP use? If not, I'm going to quickly pivot to the next presentation, because we do have a project that we've been talking about out in the community that does fit, from what we can see, it fits into the criteria of broadband infrastructure. We're continuing to evaluate that as well, but wanted to give this some high-level information on this broadband project we're looking at. So it's referred to as Amarillo Connected. Next slide, please. So first of all, we have been talking very closely with Amarillo Independent School District. This is a heat map of the areas in Amarillo that hotspots were deployed to students during the COVID-19 pandemic. As students were going home and not able to go into schools, AISD did a fantastic job getting hotspots out. This heat map maps where those hotspots are, and what this shows us is we do have a connectivity issue here in the city of Amarillo. This was actually something that was already on the city's radar. Councilmember Howard Smith was on a statewide group that was talking about some of these initiatives and some of the problems related to broadband connectivity, and had actually brought it back to Amarillo and talked with our mayor about it even before COVID-19, well, as COVID-19 was kind of evolving. And it was very interesting. It was already being seen as a problem at a statewide level. And this map shows the problem that we were seeing right here in our community and continue to see. So Councilmember Howard Smith and our Mayor Ginger Nelson have really stepped forward to help bring forward an idea to bring broadband connectivity throughout the community. Next slide here. So the divide is increasingly divisive, and what we're seeing is, especially during the pandemic, as people were sent home or they were to shelter in place, a lot of services had to be provided over the internet. Things like education, city services. We have a wonderful IT team here at the City of Amarillo continually looking for ideas to reach out our citizens over the internet so they can do their business with the city over the internet. Well, that creates a problem for those in Amarillo or the areas that don't have connectivity. So city services can be a problem. Social services and even healthcare. During COVID-19, kind of those teledoc type services were utilized in a lot of cases in order to continue to reach patients without having them physically come into a doctor's office. Banking is another very crucial service that's provided over the internet. One other thing that Councilmember Howard Smith with Connected Nation found some research that is stating that Amarillo is one of the most expensive areas in the country for internet access. So we've got a couple of things working against our area. We have connectivity problems on that heat map that was on the screen a minute ago, and then our internet is one of the most expensive in the country. So two things that are really driving this project. Next slide. So we have an approach. This team led by the mayor and Councilmember Smith. Our approach is to work together. So we're looking at a city-led community project where we involve both public and private entities to share infrastructure and share costs. So it would be one comprehensive project instead of the school district doing a project and the county doing a project and the city doing a project and Amarillo College doing a project. We all want to come together and try to do one project that's led by the city instead of a lot of small projects that may be duplicating efforts. Many communities around the nation do have broadband projects, but very few have this kind of partnership that we're looking to bring forward. On the next slide, you'll see more about our approach. So we're looking at municipally shared private LTE. So that is referred to as CBRS LTE, which is a 4G option that is open to public and private entities. It would be at a greatly reduced cost for broadband speeds, and we'd be partnering with both Dell and JMA Wireless. JMA Wireless it is in partnerships with all of the big broadband providers. They do help with their services, their wireless services. So we would also partner with a locally headquartered broadband provider. We are not looking to compete with this project. We are looking to enhance what's available in the community. And the city would offer shared access to infrastructure, more like a wholesaler, and our local partner would be the retailer. On the next slide here, we're looking to have community access to essential services for citizens. So we're only looking at essential services. So those are things like education, healthcare, city services, social services, and banking. We're not talking about Netflix. We're not talking about high streaming for games and those type of things. This isn't entertainment. We're talking about basic, essential services. So our community access would not be competitive. It would be limited, and it would not be competing with those other internet providers. It would be kind of like a base level service. So if you want to think about water service, so the city of Amarillo provides base water service. But if you want to get a higher end water service, let's say you want to drink bottled Fiji water, you can go pay extra to buy that bottled water. But the city provides kind of a base level service. Same thing could be compared to our police services. The city of Amarillo provides police services at a basic level to all citizens, but maybe a bank or an entity like that might need a higher level of security, so they may contract with a separate company to get increased security services or hire their own security in as well. So again, we're looking at a low cost add-on to a shared infrastructure, shared amongst multiple partners in the community. Next slide. So our impact. So at this point, Amarillo is really leading the way on a project like this, and this version of a broadband project. Again, access to essential services for citizens. We want every citizen to have access to education, healthcare, and essential services. No citizens excluded. We also want to help provide way for a better access for small businesses. So certain parts of town, there's not connectivity there. Our private providers, there's not a way for them to get a return on their investment. And so with the city leading a project to help bring connectivity to those areas, it could also help provide future access for even our small businesses. Also, we're looking for continual investment in our own infrastructure. So the city has a lot of infrastructure already. So does Amarillo Independent School. Region 16 has a lot of infrastructure. So we're looking to combine all those efforts and make one big project and continually invest in that infrastructure as we go forward. I want to real quickly talk about Chattanooga. They did a broadband connectivity project in 2009, a gigabit project. So what that project did is they did the full project in 2009, and then they started doing studies several years later. So looking back, there was increased venture capital investment from almost $0 to then $50 million by 2014. Unemployment also dropped from 10% to 5% due to that connectivity project. Also, by 2014, Chattanooga had the third highest wage growth for a mid-sized city. And then the University of Tennessee did a study that determined $2.6 billion in economic benefit occurred in 10 years related to that project. And so most people think, oh, they probably had these huge businesses go in, like Amazon and some of those, but actually they really started a strong small business and startup culture that really fostered all of their growth in Chattanooga. Next slide. So why this model works. Ernest J. Wilson III did a study on innovation regions like Silicon Valley, also some developing countries. What he found was the success is based on the quad. And so the quad here is government, private sector, academia, and nonprofit. So instead of each of those groups doing their own projects, if they come together and work on something together, the project is more than likely to be successful and to be sustainable long term. And that's what Chattanooga did. They had this quad effect in place. And again, so fiber did not make Chattanooga successful. It was this quad approach. So right now, we've got several partners that are already stepping up. At the last council meeting, representatives from AISD were there. Region 16 was there. We had Amarillo College there and others. We also have a private donor that's looking to help out. So we are excited about this city-led, community-wide project with multiple partners. On the next slide, our next steps. We're currently working on a request for qualifications for a local broadband partner. Then we will finalize the design, the capital, and the operating costs with our partner secured. Then we will present to council, and then with approval from our council, we will start construction. And on the next slide here, wanted to make everyone aware, if you want to engage and learn more about this project, this was a very quick overview and definitely not a technical presentation. Our IT director does a much better job at that. You can go out to AmarilloConnected.com. We have very basic information, but as this project continues to evolve, we're going to be posting more and more information out there. We have an FAQ page and some different things that you can look into if you have a question. Also, as mentioned, Mayor Nelson and Councilman Smith have really led the way on this project. We have contact information here, mine, and then also Rich Guyon, our IT director. If you have technical questions, he would be the one to reach out to. And then this last slide here real quick, just a reminder, this is the issue that this broadband project is looking to help solve, to bring connectivity to these areas of town, and this is just shown from an education standpoint. This doesn't even show households that don't have a child at AISD that received a hotspot. So this is only a portion of the problem that is in our community that we hope to solve through this broadband project. And with that, if there's any questions, if not, I'll turn it back over to the mayor.
Laura, thank you very much. I was at Whittier Elementary today. I spent the afternoon there. It was in many of their classrooms, and I was in a couple of fifth grade classrooms, and I thought, this is what this project is for. It's for fifth graders, yes, who are trying to turn in their math homework, and they can't get it turned in, and how can they succeed in fifth grade if they can't turn their homework in because it's assigned online? How can they get to sixth grade and get all where we need them to be is graduating from high school? So fifth graders are just 8 years away from being a part of our workforce, But if they can't succeed in 5th grade math, how are they going to succeed in graduating from high school and being a part of our workforce? So there's that immediate problem. But I think this project addresses a long-term problem that we have for growing businesses in the city, whether that's a small business today that wants to expand, or whether it's a new business that hasn't even hit our city because its technology hasn't been invented yet. This project will touch all of those areas. It touches kids, it touches families, it touches business owners, and it touches innovation for job industries that haven't even landed in our city yet. So that's part of why I'm grateful that Howard brought this project to me as the mayor, but he's brought it to all of us. And I don't think there's any other city in the world where, Howard, I'm going to give your age. Is that okay? All right. Where the 79-year-old council member is leading this project about technology and innovation. And I think, yes, clap for that. I love that. But he's doing it because he spent 10 years on our school board back in the 80s, and he knows what it means to think long-term down the road. So, and while he's been working on it for almost a year now, here all of a sudden we have this funding resource where we could actually pay for it. So I think that is something that I want citizens to know is happening, and there's going to be a lot more dialogue about it, but at least you've heard the basics and you have in your hands now something to study and look at. There is a website that the city is using, and it's called AmarilloConnected.com, and that is an evolving, just like we use AmarilloAlerts.com to update you on COVID and anything else emergency happening in our city. AmarilloConnected.com will evolve as we continue to have conversations about it, and there are frequently asked questions on there. So check that out every once in a while. Use it as a resource to learn about the broadband project as it moves through the process of council asking questions, and we begin to partner and have meetings with our community partners like the counties and the school districts to talk about making this a city that offers this benefit to the people that are living in their cities. There's no other city in the state of Texas that's doing this project like this. So that we have an opportunity here to lead and impact our citizens with quality of life that I'm excited about. So any other questions about that? If not, we'll hand it over to the moderator and we will get started listening to other ideas, or if you have comments on broadband, that would work too. Laura, thank you so much for that presentation. Stephanie?
Thank you, Mayor. As the mayor mentioned, I'll be your moderator this evening. A reminder, when you come up to the podium, when your name is called, please be sure you speak clearly into the mic. You can move it closer to you if you need to. We'll let you know who's up to speak, and I'll also let you know who's on deck so that you know when it's almost your turn to speak. Tonight, Mayor, our first commenter is actually a group of individuals that came together. So I'm going to read off a few names, and if you guys would like to make your way to the podium, please. Richard Bailey, Donna McKee, Barbara Cramer, I hope I said that correctly, Lisa Hancock, Jennifer Jones, and Linda Watkins. If there's anybody else from this group that I missed, please go ahead and join them at the podium.
And you guys, whoever does decide to speak, you will have to pull that microphone right to your mouth. I'm not sure what decade it's from,
Okay.
but it does not pick up unless you are talking right into it.
Thank you. Okay.
And as you guys are getting ready to speak, if you'll do us a favor and just share your name before you start your comments, we appreciate it.
I'm Lisa Hancock, and I'm very happy to be here this evening. Thank you for the opportunity, commissioners, city managers, and also Mayor Nelson and Judge Dyer. I am working on the board of directors, and I represent the Amarillo senior citizens. I know I'm old enough now to be one, but I really am still working. Not everyone that has gray hair can be retired. I just want to talk about some specific needs of our community today. I work at the Area Agency on Aging of the Panhandle, where we serve people age 60 and over living in the top 26 counties of Texas. Since 1983, I was only 26 years old back then, and I moved to Amarillo and started working with the elderly. I worked at the Bivens nursing homes for 6 years. I then went to the Jan Werner Adult Daycare and PACE program and was there for 17 years. And now at Area Agency on Aging, I've been there 15. So I have a lot of experience working with seniors, and that's my love. I love working with them. And I am one now. You know, there is such a thing as baby boomers, and I fill those shoes. Currently, there are more than 21% of our area's population that are over 60 years old and still living productive lives. The diverse generation of seniors have paved the way for all of us. Those who have gone on before us, our forefathers, are the ones who can be credited for all of the historic ranches around here, the cattle business, the oil and gas industry, the helium industry, the railroad. If you ever go see Texas out at the Palo Duro Canyon, that's what they talk about. The railroad starting through here, and of course our current infrastructure. Although it needs improvement, they're the ones that started it. These people are worth so very much. They are valuable, and it's our responsibility to respect them and give them our support as we live our lives from day to day. It takes every one of us to contribute to the community. The Amarillo Senior Citizens Association is in need. We need financial help to continue offering daily meals, programs, activities, senior trips, and the list goes on of things they do, and you'll hear more about. My question is, do you realize that the cost of institutional care in Amarillo or anywhere around Amarillo starts at around $75,000 a year, all the way up to $225,000.
Ms. Hancock, your 3 minutes is up if you'll wrap your comments, please.
Okay, wow, I didn't realize that. I always think I don't talk long enough.
You're doing a great job.
I'm just saying our need is great, and we need the people of Amarillo to support our cause and give our seniors more reason to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hancock.
My name is Jennifer Jones, and I am the Executive Director at the Amarillo Senior Citizen Center. And I want to talk a little bit about how the pandemic has impacted our organization. COVID-19 has affected us in many ways. It has affected our finances, our staff, and our members. Our senior center was closed for a total of 5 months in 2020 due to the pandemic. Since February 2020, our membership has declined 40%, with a loss of nearly $20,000 in membership dues. During the shutdown, we not only lost membership income, but fundraising came to a standstill, and the senior citizens of our community were isolated and suffered from loneliness. Social isolation is associated with a 50% increased risk of dementia and increases a person's risk of premature death from heart disease by 29% and from stroke by 32%. The outbreak of COVID-19 will have a long-term and profound impact on older adults' health and well-being. Our organization relies on fundraising for almost a quarter of its operating income, but fundraising has been severely impacted by the pandemic and until recently was almost non-existent. We have been able to have 2 small fundraisers since March of 2020, but we've still lost roughly $30,000 in fundraising revenue due to the pandemic. Since reopening, we had to hire extra staff to take temperatures and collect waivers at the door. Our expenses increased for disinfecting supplies, gloves, and masks, but we also had a decrease of in-person programs such as balance and exercise, congregate meals, dances, and legal and tax assistance. We are working diligently to bring these programs back, and with more and more in the community getting vaccinated, hopefully our seniors will feel safe enough to return to normal activities. Although the pandemic did negatively impact us, our staff and board of directors were still able to serve seniors in many ways, which was a bright spot of the past year. We could not do what we do without such wonderful seniors in our organization. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the voices of the seniors, and we truly appreciate all you do for our city.
Thank you, Ms. Jones.
Hello. My name is Janie Mayfield, and I am board president of the Amarillo Senior Citizens Association. We are a nonprofit agency. We serve the senior citizens of Amarillo and the Panhandle for the past 47 years. We're a diverse group. We have members from every portion of the city that we serve. Our mission statement is to help the senior citizens maintain independence, wellness, quality of life through programs and services to meet present and future needs. Aging is a normal process that brings both rewards and challenges. Older adults have ambitions and are capable of continued growth and development. Seniors have certain basic needs, including the need of opportunity and relationships, while experiencing a sense of achievement. Seniors coming to ASCA are encouraged to join in a wide variety of activities. It is proven that older people with no stimulation sit in their homes alone, causing feelings of isolation and depression to increase. Additionally, we serve many seniors that are food insecure. We currently have 16 different activities that promote brain stimulations, socialization, and physical activity to keep our seniors moving. While we were in our permanent location, we offered hot balanced meals on a daily basis, and they were at a very low cost. We are members of the food bank, and we offered daily free food for people to take home, which included vegetables, fruit, and many other items, as well as we gave free meals to many who needed them. We have provided wheelchairs and walkers to many of the people who could not afford them. Today, families are scattered across the country and lead very busy lives. We strive to ensure that all seniors are treated with dignity and protected against neglect, abuse, and keep them informed on the scams that are going on in our community, which seem to target the senior population. Most of you are aware that we lost our home of 46 years quite unexpectedly. And then the COVID pandemic hit, which just was almost the final blow. We have really taken a staggering back step with all this. This stopped our fundraising. It has limited the amount of grants that we were able to apply for and receive, because most grants are tied to the stock market and other situations. This has caused us to close for lengthy periods to protect our population, which was at most risk during this pandemic. We ask you, city leaders, to give $2 million of this huge grant to enable us to get into a permanent building. Our $1 million building project now exceeds $2 million due to the COVID cost of building. We've been told by our builder they have increased 300% in the last year. On the news last week, they said 400%, but it is staggering.
Ms. Mayfield, if you'll wrap your comments, please.
We have formulated a plan that will put a roof over our heads and enable us to serve meals immediately. We are able to guarantee a long future for the senior population. Senior citizens have worked their whole lives helping make this city what it is today. You city leaders have an amazing opportunity to show our community values, respects, and supports their senior citizens. You can provide ASCA with that ability to serve the seniors with no increase in taxes or your budget. I implore you to do the right thing and help save our seniors. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Mayfield.
I'm Donna McKee. I'm so glad to have an opportunity to speak for Amarillo Senior Citizens. I am proud to be a part of this organization. We serve a diverse group of seniors, Potter and Randall County, and our senior population is growing really fast. As you know, our baby boomers are retiring, so we need to prepare to serve a large group of people. We have been working to raise the funds to renovate the building that we have bought from Potter County over on 6th Street. It will be a lovely building, but you know, doing fundraisers like bake sales and pancake breakfast, that doesn't go real far in raising $3 million. So even though we have received a lot of donations, we still need $2 million to renovate this building and make it beautiful. We have lovely architectural plans that we would invite you to look at. We're just really glad of what we have accomplished and of the people that we serve. Many people that come to the senior citizens, they have another outlet for visiting and having fellowship. They come for lunch. We have not been able to give them lunch for about a year since we have been we don't have our home at the Amarillo Senior Citizens downtown anymore. So we are eager to get in this new building. And we just ask you to please consider helping us to renovate our building and to have a beautiful place in Amarillo for seniors to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McKee.
My name is Barbara Cramer, and I am on the board of the Amarillo Senior Citizens Association, and I truly appreciate the opportunity to speak to the leaders of Amarillo, because in your hands, y'all have a lot of very important decisions. And I know that most people that are going to speak to you tonight, you know, are worried about their needs, but I want to speak for the seniors of the population of Amarillo. We seniors are the foundation of Amarillo. We were the ones who, you know, have built this city up from, you know, I've lived here 60 some odd years, you know, so we're the ones that have helped it get to where it is today. And even as we speak today, we work here, we shop here, we pay our taxes, and we vote. And y'all know more seniors vote than non-seniors. And the Senior Citizen Association has provided activities, fellowship, and nutritious meals for seniors since 1973. And we owe a huge of gratitude to Mary E. Bivens, because she made it possible for the city of Amarillo to not have to be the umbrella over us. Many of the cities around us, like Pampa and Borger and Hereford and Lubbock, they support, the city supports the Senior Citizens Association. They're not independent. Amarillo has never had to support us for the last 48 years. But now, you know, we're in a different situation. We lost our home. You know, we can no longer provide the daily nutritious meals that we provided before. And of course, socialization, for those of you that are not old enough to know, is so important to older people. And I personally know of 2 of our members that after they lost their socialization outlet, which ASCA was, through no fault of their own, us losing our home was through no fault of our own, but they are now in assisted living places because they lost their reason to get up, to get ready, to go. They lost the people that they visited with every day. They went into depression, and now their life is basically over. And I mean, that makes me want to cry as I stand here right this minute. But anyway, and that goes back to the thing too, with the COVID quarantines, all of us have kind of felt what it's like to have to be isolated, and isolation leads to, you know, depression. And then back to like what Lisa said, about 21% of the Amarillo's population is 60 and over, and that's increasing every day. Many of those people are low income, and so the meals we used to offer at very extremely low prices were so important to those people. And our portions were big enough they could eat half of it for lunch and eat half of it for supper. So for $30 a week, they could eat nutritious meals and be healthy. They also had their socialization. They had, the other things as well that are important. And if you take the actual number of seniors in Amarillo, and you divide that number into the 2 million that we're asking for, what other of the people's needs that are going to come up are going to actually impact that many people? And I heard the bell. So that was perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cramer.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
My name's Richard Bailey, and I'm here to tell you about our activities that we do at the Senior Center and how they've impacted us. I'm mainly associated with the pool club, and I play table tennis. And that gives us an insight on mental health and physical health. I went around and I asked some of the members how the Senior Center affected them. One of the pool club members said that it really gives him something to look forward to every day for the 2 or 3 hours that he can come down there. We have another pool club member, Rodney, that's got the onset of Alzheimer's, and it really helps him because he comes down there and helps him focus, concentrate, keep score, camaraderie, joins in. Then I went to the Bridge Club, and they have a couple of members in there that are as old as 106, if you can believe that. 106, still playing bridge, still active, and the way that the one member put it was memory, not muscle memory, but mind memory. Sorry, mind memory. It keeps them concentrating on score, the plays, so forth. We have our sergeant at arms in the pool club, Leo, that's 96. Still drives himself down there every day, and he said if it wasn't for the pool club, he probably wouldn't be alive today because he looks forward to it. That is about all I have to say, and I enjoyed the presentation on the broadband and the progress, but I hope that the council also remembers the older generation. I hope that you can focus and see fit to give us a little bit of attention too, along with the new development, which you have to have. But we can't forget our elderly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. And as Ms. Linda Watkins comes up, just letting Reverend Cobble and Jay Parker know you guys will be next on deck.
Hello, my name is Linda Watkins, and I don't exactly know why I was called up. I'm not officially a part of the group, except that I'm a senior citizen, and I do work. I don't wish to diminish anybody else's feelings on what they think is important, because all of our projects are important to us. But my belief and my feeling is that job number one of any government, city, state, federal, is the safety and security of its people. To that end, I would really like to see the police departments and the sheriff's departments get the help that they need. In particular, I have talked to several police officers who are concerned that they cannot get ammunition. Some of them have even told me they can't find it. I don't understand that exactly, except I know things are happening around. And the other thing, as most of you know, I have done a lot of the meet and greets with you guys and citizens, so I've heard from a lot of citizens, and one of the biggest concerns that I've heard is the 911 services. One person expressed concern that a house was on fire and they were put on hold for 20 minutes when they called 911. And by the time somebody responded, the house was burned down. I am not laying blame. All I'm saying is, in my estimation, we need to do whatever we can do to make sure that our police and fire and emergency people have the equipment, whatever it is that they're going to need. I would really like to see at least some of this money go to helping them. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you. I will say I was at that same candidate forum where I heard that conversation about that slow response time. We were able to get the address for that house, and the response times were
6 minutes.
6 minutes for the first truck.
Fourth truck and 10.
Sorry, you say it in the microphone, Jared. So
If it's the address, I think, and that's the only instance I'm aware of
Yeah.
like this, the first truck showed up just over 6 minutes. The fourth truck showed up right at 10 minutes. So, and that's from the time that it was reported to dispatch. When the first truck got there, the house was almost on the ground, so it appears that it went for some time before it was reported to
before someone called.
dispatch. We absolutely want to look into any instance of a slow response. Not dismissing what you're saying, and it absolutely could be a different instance that I'm not aware of, but what you're saying is very similar to the characteristics of the situation that I'm describing to you right now. Just wanted you to know what the response times were, and we can definitely provide the information from dispatch and from the fire department on that one.
But we really appreciate that public safety emphasis and those comments. So thank you very, very much for taking the time to be here tonight.
And Mayor, I think Ms. Watkins' incident is going to be different than the one that we're just recently made aware of.
You do?
So hers is differently, and I was actually at that meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you have that address, Frida, that we can follow up on?
I'll look it up here in just a moment.
Okay,
It's on
great.
Woodward Street.
Sorry?
It's on Woodward Street.
Okay.
That is correct, Councilmember Smith. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Well, let's follow up on that and find out what the situation was there, see what needs to be corrected. So thank you for bringing that up. Okay, Stephanie.
Thank you, Mayor. Reverend Coble and Jay Parker, go ahead. And
Good evening, everyone. I'm a preacher, so I don't need this mic. We're up here, we're actually supposed to talk about two things, but it'll actually be three. I'll have one that'll be 1 minute and 49 seconds. The other one will be 1 minute and 51 seconds. I am the director of the Hilltop Senior Citizen, and we've encountered some of the same things as the other center. However, we've developed a food bank, and my problem is I have no room for my food, and I have people trying to give me clothes, and I don't have any place to put my clothes because if I took all that in, it takes up my activity area. But there is a building to the south of us that we're trying to get hold to, and if once we get that building, then we're going to put all our food and clothing over there so that we can keep our activities going. That's my 1 minute and 49 seconds. The other thing is I'm here on behalf of, there is a sewer problem over by the Ross Rogers. It's on Northeast 24th Street, and it's on the eastern end of Ross Rogers there, between that and the little pad where they throw the disc. And when it rains, it's awful. I mean, it's really awful. And I've had like 20 years, I worked for Phillips 66, so I have 20 years in chemical information and all that stuff, and that's some type of biohazard. The sewer was originally open when I was a boy, and they closed it maybe 25, 30 years ago, but somewhere over in that area, right there by Ross Rogers, still have a lot of escaping and seepage, and the people in that area called us to bring this before the council. That needs to be fixed. I'm a safety guy. That's what I did for Phillips 66. I'm safety and, all that stuff. So my time is up. Thank you.
thank you, Reverend Coble. Mr. Parker.
How y'all doing today? Can you hear me? Okay, I'm not a preacher and I need notes and a microphone. So good evening, my name is Jay Parker. I'm a resident of North Amarillo, specifically North Heights, and I am the current secretary for the North Heights Advisory Association. And I'd like to address the need to fund a project that would adequately provide fire protection for North Amarillo, adequate fire protection. I was shocked when I learned that North Amarillo's fire protection was antiquated back into the 1920s. So as North Amarillo was annexed from the city in 26, they never upgraded, for what I understand, the fire protection system. So to sum it all up, the fire hydrants are sparse in North Amarillo. For what I understand also is that if there's not enough water in the truck and your fire is 3-alarm, then it's just going to burn down. And so I've only been back here a year and a half, and I've witnessed fires of that magnitude and the truck's inability to put it out because it either wasn't close enough to a hydrant or the couplings on the truck or on the hydrant wouldn't fit the truck in order to service the fire. And so, yeah, it's a really, really big problem. North Heights has a very large low-income and senior population, and so my mom is one of them. And so every time I leave her house, I leave with pause because I know that her being elderly, if there should be a fire incident, what would be the propensity of her survival if emergency services didn't act swiftly? And based on the last statement from the last person that talked, if it's going to take 15 to 20 minutes to get to my mother, then the propensity for her to survive is going to be very, very low. And so we desperately need that funding in order to at least take a look at the infrastructure and replace the parts that can be utilized for the residents of North Heights. And so that's, and all the pressure is very low as well. So from 2-inch lines to 6-inch lines would really be a great thing for North Amarillo in order to be able to service any fire incident that should arise. So doing my research at this meeting, I had the opportunity to look at the mentality of the fire marshal. And the fire marshal's office, they have a mission statement on their website, and it says the fire marshal's office will reduce the loss of life and property through prevention, education, and compliance. Well, I think that with the fire protection infrastructure not being all that it should be, it has greatly crippled the idea behind the fire marshal's mission.
Mr. Parker, if you'll
Yes.
wrap up your comments,
Okay, real quick.
please.
So in saying that, I believe that the city and this council shares the responsibility of doing all it can do to correct the situation. So thank you so much for hearing me.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. Next is Ms. Rosie Powell. And on deck after Rosie will be Melvia Perkins. Did I say that correct? Okay, great.
Thank you. My name is Rosie Powell. Mayor, when I heard you say you went to Whittier, my ears went up like, hey, I'm a Whittier parent of 4 daughters, so thank you for going to Whittier. In that, I would like to say, as talking to my neighbors in all, even as of today, it was, Rosie, will they hear her? No, will they listen to you? Will they listen to us? And I said, well, what do you want to say? Or what is it? Yeah, that's all they're going to do today is listen. So I thank you, Mayor, because I heard you say the magic word that I always say when I'm talking to people or whatever, or to the family. You said, our parents would always say, if we invest wisely, our returns will be great. And that is so true. I remember hearing you say, Ms. Christie, that you're glad to be here. Thank you all for inviting them, because you may hear something that what y'all hadn't even thought of. You know, I also heard Laura Storer say, you know, we're not here to compete, but we're here to enhance. And that's what all of this is all about, because I see Amarillo as being one big house. And I always say, the prettiest room in the house, I'll say it again, is our living room. And I always say I want every part of Amarillo to look like our living room, wherever that is. So I'm saying all 4 quadrants of Amarillo, I would like to see them look just alike and doing as much as we can. As you said, we're not trying to compete, but we just want to enhance every area of Amarillo. In that, my neighbors did say today that they want to thank you for bringing back the north side swimming pool, bigger and better. Thank you very much. They want to thank you for bringing Amazon back, Amazon here. And the thing was, they want to see more of that. We would like to see more jobs, more affordable housing, and how to get that done. We're going to say, hey, I'm going to say, we can say all together, if we give more incentives, yes, working in partnership, not trying to compete, but trying to enhance where we are. That's what we're after. Make it look nice. So we don't have to drive all over town to get to a nice restaurant. We would love to just sit down and go to a nice restaurant on the north side of town. So thank you for what you have done. We're looking for bigger and better things to happen. Also, I would like to say, don't forget the small business contractor, the small businesses. I think if we do partnership with the contractors, if we talk to them, maybe we can come up with something. Also, don't forget the small guys that are contractors also. The next thing I would say is that I would like to see us upgrade our mall for our locals and for our visitors, with emphasis on H&M, our youth. Our young people love that. Also, we would like to see Macy's, although we know that there's a downside to Macy's right now, but everything is going to come back. I believe that. The next thing is another mode of transportation. Think about bringing back Amtrak train. I believe we have the rails already. I could be wrong, but I'm just saying.
Ms. Powell, if
yes.
you'll wrap up your comments,
okay,
please.
Thank you very much. Please, and then check out the megabus for all of our students that we have going and traveling from town to town, Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, San Antonio, and Austin. Please think about it, just to make it easier and a smaller fare for them. Thank you very much so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Powell. Next is Ms. Melvia Perkins, and on deck after Ms. Perkins will be Leo Kenley.
Evening. Ms. Rosie almost spoke on everything that I kind of wanted to speak about. But thank you for giving us the opportunity to come voice our opinion and ask what we feel that the money should go for. I grew up in the North Heights and northeast section of Amarillo. I've been here since '62. I graduated from Paladura High School, and I'm one of the senior citizens here in Amarillo. I'm hitting 70 years old, and I really like Amarillo. My daughter's trying to get me to move to Georgia, but I like Amarillo. And what I would like to see on the north and northeast section of town is better lighting. Seems that I grew up and there's no change in that section of town for some reason. You know, the trees are, you know, we could stand to have some trees cut down or whatever in our section of town, beautify north, east, and northwest section of town, North Heights section of town. We would love to see our side of town. Like you say, we're not competing with no one, but beautify the whole city of Amarillo so that when a person comes, whether they come from the northeast, northwest, south, or whatever, they're proud to be in Amarillo. The mayor is doing a great job. All you commissioners are doing a great job, and we appreciate what you're doing, but don't forget about the little ones over here on this side. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perkins.
And also, I had mentioned it to one of our commissioners one time about the overpass and underpass on North Hughes and Buchanan Street, Fillmore Street. You know, beautify that coming up under that bridge on Fillmore and Buchanan Street. Put some lighting down through there and beautify that area also. It's a beautiful scene to come up under those bridges. I take my grandkids up on the Fillmore sometime and make them feel like they're at Wonderland. But please think about our section of town. Thank you.
And as Mr. Kenley comes forward, Lori Roybal will be next on deck.
My name is Leo Kenley, and I've been in this town for 12 years. I own a used car lot in this town. And at the same time, I'm a master's student at WT. I take a master's in administration. And the reason why I'm here tonight is because I have two issues. And I've raised these two issues to the city. I've played to the police department, and I haven't really found any solution. These two issues are kind of like related. First one is drugs problems in Amarillo. And the second one is safety. And they're both related. 2 weeks ago, I called the city and I asked to speak to the city manager. And I told him, I think that Amarillo needs a major rehab to keep the people around. Because I've noticed that I used to be on 6th Street. I was on 6th Street for 6 years. I owned a couple of shops there, and they got broken in several times. And I ended up moving to the Boulevard, where I've been 6 years, and I got my shop shut down. The thieves came and robbed it. When I called the city manager, I told him that I think that the city of Amarillo is going down, and this is due to drugs issues. If you go walk from Hughes to Grant, you're going to find thousands of people walking, talking to themselves, fighting. They all high. And I've raised this issue several times. And I say, some of these people are very, very important people that this community needs. They are knowledgeable people. They get arrested. They get sent to jail. And 2-3 months, they get burned out. They come back out, and they go back and do the same thing. And I said that this city needs a major rehab where these people can be arrested instead of going to jail, be sent to, get kept, and they will help the community. I raised this issue, and the manager told me, no, Leo, there are a couple of places in town that can help on that. No, there's nothing in town. The closest one I found, because my landlord has a nephew that is very knowledgeable, but he can't stop drinking. They sent him to Lubbock. He was in Lubbock for 6 months. He came back, and he went right back to it. I have a friend down on Hughes Street. His son is going to prison for 25 years. He's had 10 DWI. And I offered him, I said, well, where can we find a rehab to send this child? He said, well, we don't have that can keep him for a long time. But being here for 12 years, I've noticed that the city is going down youth-wise. At a certain point, being a business owner, it's hard for me to find somebody to help because everybody you find is on something. And I've come to notice that addiction is a disease that is not ready to cure.
Mr. Kinley, if you'll wrap up your comments, please.
Thank you. The more you get kept being addicted, the chances you are for you to get rid of your disease. So, and safety-wise, in 2 years, I've lost 7 customers by gunshot. And they got shot by people that their mind is not all there. I have a license to carry. I don't even carry a pistol. So I don't believe that I can kill a person. But why would you think that a 20-year-old would have a courage to take a pistol and shot somebody else while I'm 48 and I can't shoot somebody? But a 20-year-old in Amarillo will easily take a pistol and shot somebody. Lastly, I would strongly encourage the city to build a monster rehab, to send these young kids, to send this adult that cannot stay away from alcohol, that cannot stay away from drugs, and keep them for as long as they can to help them stop what they're doing. Thank you very much.
Mr. Kinley, thank you for your comments. Next is Ms. Laurie Roybal, and on deck after Laurie will be Carrie Good.
Hi, my name is Lori Roybal, and I am a resident of Amarillo. This is my first time ever doing this, so sorry if my voice is shaky or if I'm too loud. But I'm excited about the funding that we received. Also concerned. COVID is very important, and the effects of COVID have taken a tremendous toll on our community, people in our community. Those who have worked the crisis. But I feel like my question today is, how is that funding going to be used for other outbreaks in our area? Other infectious disease outbreaks that have been put on the back burner, that are brewing and lacking the attention that it needs. Specifically, HIV and STD in Potter and Randall County, and the surrounding 26 counties around us that affect our 2 counties. My question is this funding, has it even been considered on how we're going to get these outbreaks under control once COVID is being managed appropriately in our community and getting our community back on track for their health and being responsible for their own sexual health? A lot of things have been pushed back, even immunization appointments, doctor's appointments. People have lost their jobs, resources. Some have lost their funding, so we don't have as many resources for this kind of infectious disease outbreaks. There may be other outbreaks. Right now, it's an American problem. They are out of control. It's from the CDC. It's been stated. It's something nobody ever wants to talk about, and I'm here to talk about it. We rub elbows every day with people who have HIV. Some people have died because they have lost resources to get the attention that they need, or the resources that they need because of COVID also. Not just because of COVID, but it has gotten worse because of COVID. My question today, or I guess what I'm asking for today, is will there be funding to help in those areas? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Roybal. Next is Ms. Carrie Good. And as Carrie comes up, on deck will be Doshawn Johnson.
As Carrie's coming, I'll just ask Jared. Jared, what's your latest on the weather? What are you hearing?
I have it here. We have cells south of town. About 30 minutes ago, they said it was about an hour away from town. So
Okay.
we do need to be aware of the time at this time. And Kevin, we're in contact with the EOC. We've activated the Emergency Operations Center, so we do have a number of staff over there right now.
So when we see Kevin leave the room.
When Kevin leaves, everyone run.
Yeah.
Kevin, do we have anything that we need to report? If you can just shoot me that information, I'll push it out.
Okay, thank you. I think we're good to keep going then. Hi, Carrie.
Hi. I'm president of the board of directors of the Guyon Saunders Resource Center, so I'm here to speak on their behalf. First, I just want to tell you we are a low-barrier shelter, day shelter for the homeless, and we're the only one in the city of Amarillo. Last year alone, we saw 1,600 unique individuals. When the shelter was put in place, a shelter in place was established, many of the providers either shut down, even though they were considered critical services, or they reduced the services that they provided. As a result, we saw larger numbers than ever before. We had a staff of 3 people at this time. It was just incredible. We put some big measures in place to help, and I just want to point out to you, if we did not exist, we would have had all of those homeless people roaming the streets of Amarillo. That would not have been safe for the entire community or them. And so I'm going to outline as quickly as I can some of the measures we put in place. First and foremost, we hired a cleaning company to sanitize every night. A huge expense, over $2,000 a month, and let me again remind you, a very small budget. We sought donations, and the community responded. We opened 2 additional day rooms to maintain social distancing. Oh, let me go back on the cleaning. I'll tell you, the city of Amarillo provided us a sanitizer cleaning, and we're a partnership with us. We cannot thank you enough for your support during this critical time. We opened the 2 day rooms for additional social distancing, providing mask and sanitizer every single day as people entered and exited the building. We have gone through literally thousands of face masks trying to keep our homeless population safe. We established a sick bay to isolate anyone from the general population. Just imagine, if you will, if you were homeless and you're sick, where are you going to get resources? Where are you going to lay your head down during the day? I mean, it's a critical need. So, and then when somebody was diagnosis, had some issues or had some symptoms, in order to testing, we called on our friends at the City of Amarillo. You provided a transportation. We would take our client, our homeless client, to sit them at the back of the bus. You transported them to the testing facility and then put them in a hotel to stay until the results came back. A huge partnership, again, to keep our community safe. During this time, the major provider for lunch shut their kitchen down. We do not have a commercial kitchen, so here we were faced with 1,600 people roaming the streets of Amarillo looking for food during a pandemic or try to provide some basic services. We established a loaves and fishes program, and we had people from the community donate money, and then we bought meals at reduced costs from restaurants. Again, we know how the restaurants suffered. We were able to help the restaurants in turn help those individuals who were experiencing homelessness not go hungry and not be in search of food.
Ms. Good, if you'll wrap up your comments,
Okay,
please.
and then this month we provided we began providing vaccinations at the center. We are doing a capital campaign to create a new facility to better partnership position ourselves to care for them. We are 33rd in the nation in terms of homeless per capita. We need to help our people, give them an opportunity. We need an opportunity to help those who can't help themselves. We've raised over half the money for a new facility. The City of Amarillo's Coming Home program is instrumental in helping people to a pathway out of homelessness. So we just ask for you to consider support for this worthy project. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Good. And next, Mr. Doshawn Johnson. On deck after Doshawn will be Edie DiTomoso.
Hello, everyone. How are you all? I'd like to say thank you all to the City Council for all the contributions that you all have made towards the North Heights Linen Service. That is a major contribution to North Amarillo. And we'd also like to thank you all for the many things that you've done towards housing in Amarillo. That is a very big issue. I think that's one of the #1 issues in Amarillo as far as the north side is concerned. So we would also hope that you all could maybe find new ways to partner with individuals and business owners, and not only business owners, but contractors and otherwise, to continue to help that cause. And other than that, just want to thank you all for supporting all the many things that you all have helped do in the past, because as everyone has said here, it's a collective issue, and that's the thing, and certainly we can't let all the seniors lose their spaces. We definitely got to help those people, and I personally want to help in any way that I can. I do have a public foundation myself as well. Urban Heights Development of Amarillo is structured under education and development, so in any way that my wife and I can help, we're happy to do so. And because there's a lot of issues, and foundations can help in a lot of different ways. So in every way that we can help, there's a lot of issues I heard here tonight, and certainly I'm on board to help any of you all's causes. So thanks a lot, and maybe we can partner on some new things moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Edie DiTomaso.
Stephanie, how many speakers do we have left? Just watching our time.
Edie is our last signed up speaker, Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, people from the counties, and City Manager. I realize that what I was going to speak on tonight probably doesn't fit much in with what your recommendations are. But I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the 10th Avenue streetscape, since we have somebody new on City Council who probably hasn't heard about this project. I'm also a member of the Barrio Neighborhood Planning Committee, and I'm on the executive board for that. You know, the Barrio is a historic neighborhood. It is one of the underserved minority communities in our area. And it was one of the four sections of the city that was given a chance to write a plan and to revitalize itself. The Barrio is the closest neighborhood to the downtown area. We have a direct connection from, on 10th Avenue from downtown all the way out to the Tri-State Fairgrounds, which I understand are in the process of getting some upgrades. So the 10th Avenue streetscape is a very important project because it would help beautify the city. It would help us provide access for tourism and also for foot traffic coming in, back and forth, in and out of it. One of the things that I looked on, and I'm kind of abbreviating my remarks because I changed them from when I walked in. One of the things that I notice on here is help with sewage and drainage. And I'm pretty certain that when they start digging up 10th Avenue to redo the sidewalks, that the sewage and drainage portion of it are going to be part of what needs to be done. So the streetscape is going to have, they're going to widen the sidewalks so that it'll enhance pedestrian traffic. They're also going to put in ADA ramps. And for people like me with disabilities that usually walk with a cane, or somebody's got a walker or something, it's really hard to get up and down off of sidewalks if there's a curb there. Because in my case, I never know when my knee is going to collapse. So, but we also have, along in that, we have trees which are going to provide shade. And there's going to be additional lighting which will provide safety for the businesses along that corridor. I know one of the businesses, I think it's JB Pools and the bar and the pool hall that's there is now out of business because of COVID. They just, they tried to reopen, I guess, at different times, and they just couldn't. So they have been affected by that. Most of the businesses along that 10th Avenue corridor have not been adversely impacted, at least not that I know of.
Ms. DiTomaso, if you'll wrap up your comments.
I'm going to. So I would like you to consider if it's possible that maybe we would qualify for some of the sewage and drainage money. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. DiTomaso. With that, Mayor, that wraps up our public comment signups, and I would turn the meeting back over to you.
Okay. I just would ask any of our panel members sitting up here if you have any follow-up comments or any closing comments, and we will try to wrap this meeting just a little bit quicker than it was scheduled so that everybody has plenty of time to get home and beat the weather that's coming on us. But I want to give each of you an opportunity to make a comment or ask a question.
Mayor, I don't have any questions. I just want to thank the citizens for coming out and sharing what's on their heart and sharing their ideas with us so that we will know what you want us to think about when it comes time to allocate those funds. So really appreciate everybody, just appreciate your time.
And this is not the last opportunity. You can always reach us by email. And that is each of our names. So like mine is ginger.nelson@amarillo.gov. Another way to get great information is to actually call or email the Public Communications Department if you've got a random question about how do I get a pothole fixed in my alley or any kind of question about the city. There are cards on the back table. It should have been in your chair as you sat down that have that information on it or how you can call the departments directly. But we want to hear your ideas. So please, if you go to bed tonight and wake up with a great idea, send it to us by email. We're going to continue this conversation. And we look forward to having you be a part of it through sharing your ideas with us. So thank you, and everybody please go straight home and be safe.
Mayor, if I may add real quick, we have a post-meeting contact sign-up sheet too. If you'd like to leave your name, phone number, email, then you can stay in contact with us.